Good day everyone. Sudarshan here with some time to spare, or I made some time to spare, I guess, right? Um, just as a sort of thought experiment, I thought I'll do these things called a student at WhatsApp University series, or something like it's reviewing boomer videos, basically, videos which our dads send and all that. So I unfortunately slash fortunately I'm not part of family WhatsApp groups. Very nuclear family. My dad does send me garbage occasionally though, but as he's quite a reasonable person, he doesn't usually. Okay, something which sort of catches his fancy, he'll send. He'll not send your everyday good morning message, है ना? If anything, he'll send a nice, good Vivekananda quote, है ना? Swami ji का quote एक आएगा तो credit where credit is due. At least it's good literature. But yeah, so I he did send me this video, which I thought was quite funny, right? So for a variety of reasons, and we'll get into that as the video progresses. I have watched it once, so it's not an initial reaction as such, but I mean, let's see. Like my mother used to say, "Kya bolti hai abhi bhi." So if you read Shakespeare again and again, you learn something new, and I guess it applies to literature in general also. So we'll go into the video now, right? So I'll share my screen with sound. Yeah, so ignore my desktop. एंड मेरा शक्ल भी आने मांगता है ना. कैसे लाऊं पहले तो सब कचरा बंद कर देता हूँ. व्हाट्सएप, नो वन नीड्स टू सी दिस. पढ़ाई लिखाई छी 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 छी. Yeah, and I can see my face. Yeah, okay, I will just exit full screen. Yeah. Yeah, so right off the bat, I see the Brute logo at the top right, and so this Brute videos, they're अच्छा ये जैसे 4.5 minute का है. So they usually are, you could say left wing, or anti-government or anti-establishment, or I mean however you want to put it, right? So I don't expect my father to share a lot of such content. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll see, right? So we'll start the video.
My story is not with Varanasi. My story is with Ganga Maji. I'll tell you the story.
Acha, so this film called RRR is trending. I think I know nothing about the movie. I just know ऐसे Instagram story वगैरह में लोग डालता है. तो I assume I know that SS Rajamouli directed it, the Bahubali director. So I think it's a part of promoting the movie, and I assume it has some lane then with nationalism or religion or culture. Something कुछ तो होगा ही.
So when I was 15, 16 years old, maybe 17, my family is a very religious family. They do a lot of pujas and religious rituals. My father one day called me. He gave me 600 or 700 rupees and said, go to Allahabad.
प्रयागराज. हाँ, ठीक से बोलना.
And where the Ganga meets Jamuna, the Triveni Sangama, and get holy water of Ganga. Get 50 barrels of Ganga water from Allahabad to Chennai. We were living in Chennai then.
Baapre, sent his 15, 16 or 17. He doesn't remember his age, to go to Allahabad from Chennai to get 50 barrels of water. Now, that seems like a task, and yeah, we'll see. And I don't know what his age is now. What the year would be, just for a time scale. I'll just look it up jaldi se. क्या नाम है इसका? SS Rajamouli. Born 1973. So 17 years will be 1990. So we are talking late 80s or early 90s, something like that. Okay. I don't know whether it is okay to assume he knew Hindi or not, because imagine staying in Chennai you know, you are, I assume is Telugu, you know, a native of Andhra, or even if he's Tamil, I don't know. Don't know if he knows Tamil. I mean, that would be, he was born in Raichur, hailed from Kovur in Andhra, lived in Vizag. पता नहीं अब हिंदी आता था कि नहीं, I don't know. Even now he has a, you know, distinct accent, so it seems quite cruel, huh, to send your teenage son, less than minor son, he's not an adult, huh, maximum 17, to to you Uttar Pradesh from Chennai for getting Ganga water. And you know, I think reverence for a river is good. I think it, to an amateur like me, it would seem that it's some form of devotion to nature, right? A river is part of nature. You know, appreciate it for life, any form of nature worship. But the, I don't know, I won't say on a personal level, but the institutional neglect towards that river is very apparent in its water quality. So I mean, thoda people have to be, maybe that time it was good, I should not be saying this, maybe in the late 80s and 90s it was good, dekhna padega. But yeah, I mean, it's still a weird obsession, I feel.
At that point of time, I had never been north of Visakhapatnam.
Dekho, never been north of Visakhapatnam, huh?
Forget anywhere in north of India.
I think we can take this as a placeholder for the fact that he did not know Hindi, ठीक है? And he was being sent into the heart of the Hindi heartland, more or less, so to speak.
But my father said I took the money and booked a ticket and got on the train, second class compartment. I think
Second class compartment 2 AC है क्या? I mean, AC पता नहीं, but I don't know, I have to look this up, I don't know. But yeah, and I think he mentioned 600, 700 rupees in the 90s, in the late 80s. It must have been a good amount, huh?
it was a 36 hour or 40-hour journey. I didn't know how to do it, but I just got on the train. As we were traveling, there was a gentleman sitting there, and I remember he was telling the people about how Pandit Nehruji's socialistic approach was not right for the country. Something he was telling.
This is oddly specific memory, nahi? Matlab, it's very convenient in the current political climate that he's able to remember this. He doesn't. He's giving his age range in 3 ये, हाँ, 15 या 16 या 17. अपन बोलते 20-21 का था, मैं 25-26 का था, भाई बोल रहे 15 था कि 16 था कि 17 था. बट ट्रेन में जो गए हम, जो उसको ड्यूरेशन भी नहीं याद, 36 था कि 40 था, नेहरू को गाली दे रहा था कोई, हाँ, गाली मतलब जो भी सोशलिस्ट अप्रोच को गरिया रहा था. इट्स ऑफुली कन्वीनियंट. एंड okay, if you place that, if you know, giving him the benefit of the doubt, you know, that it was just before liberalization, so I don't know whether the gentleman was anticipating it, whether he knew that Narasimha Rao will come and Dr. Manmohan Singh will come and they'll resolve this and liberalize India. But it's awfully convenient that he gets a random passenger who is somehow speaking against the kind of, who has a rhetoric similar to the current establishment. But ठीक है, चलो, you know, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. जैसे मैं पाकिस्तान को क्रिकेट में सपोर्ट करता हूँ, this fellow is playing devil's advocate. He's doing shithousery. Fair enough, जाओ.
After some time, he noticed me and he asked me, "Who are you? What are you doing? Where are you going?" So I said, "I'm going to Allahabad to bring Ganga Jal, 50 barrels of Ganga Jal." So I said, "Kyun?" I said, "My family is a religious family. My brother is doing some kind of religious ritual. My father told me, so I'm going." हाँ बेटा, तू गंगा माँ जी को लेने के लिए जा रहे हो? Yes. I said, "Yes, sir." Okay, fine. How do you plan to get it? I said, "I don't know."
Wow, wow. You are a minor. You sat on a train. You are going to a place where you probably don't know the language, and you don't know anything. And you are readily admitting it to strangers. And there is no way this story should end well, but it does. Spoiler alert, it does. But yeah, matlab, kudos to that uncle for sort of थोड़ा सा अपन क्वालिटी कंट्रोल में 5 आई एनालिसिस वगैरह करता है कि क्यों 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 ऐसे, है ना? तो ये क्यों कैसे ऐसे सवाल पूछ रहे हैं, है ना?
Do you know anyone in Allahabad? I said, "I don't know."
Wow.
So how are you going to get it? I said, "I don't know." My father said, "I'm going." So he took a pen and paper.
At this point, you know, you either suspect the सामने वाला to be a con man. Maybe those times people are more trusting. मतलब if you tell me to, if someone is like this, I see someone on the train कि मैं जा रहा हूँ, क्या क्या लेने जा रहा है भाई? ऐसे इंडस्ट्रियल एफ्लुएंट लेके आऊंगा 100 लीटर. काहे? क्यों? ऐसे ही घर बाप बोला मेरा. Okay. So, I'm not going to take that person seriously. And I mean, come on, yeah, this is concerning. Why will you send your minor son to the middle of a place he doesn't know anything about? But, it appears that this gentleman, I should say, is helping him.
He wrote a letter to his son who lives in Allahabad. He said, go there, give this letter to my son, he will help you.
क्या कोइंसिडेंस है यार, उनका बेटा भी इलाहाबाद में रहता है ना, कानपुर में रह सकता था, लखनऊ में रह सकते थे, है ना, बनारस में रह, इलाहाबाद, क्या नसीब है इसका, है ना, ब्यूटीफुल, राइट? He should make a movie on this.
So I took the letter, went to Allahabad, went to his son's house. He read the letter and said, okay, my father says I need to help you. What help do you need? I said, I need to take Ganga water to Chennai. So I said, why?
Gajab hai yaar. Every uncle in the story is Dasharatha and every son is Maryada Purushottam Ramaji, hai na? So they all they're following orders with utmost reverence, but sawal bhi nahi kar rahe, hai na? Even this dude, I mean, he wrote a letter to take him to the son's house and didn't give context, and they diya chithi, jao beta, just go to my son and just shit house over there like you're shit housing so far.
Told again the whole story. He said, okay, and he made some phone calls, some blow blast industry who gave me the barrels.
Baapre, blow blast industry barrels. I don't know what blow blast is. 1 minute. पता नहीं अब क्या है, कुछ बैरल कंटेनर वगैरह बनाता है, तो मतलब क्या नसीब. It's beautiful. Is this the movie by chance? I don't know. Is he describing the movie? I don't even know. Probably I look like a fucking idiot if I come out of this video and it's like criticizing him for no reason.
I took the barrels. Everywhere they're asking me, what are you going to do with it? I was telling the same story, and everywhere the same.
Yeah, locals must be knowing, na, because everyone has they have a devotion, reverence, obsession, whatever form of adjective you want to use depending on how you see it. But थोड़ा तो ये लोग समझ गया होगा ना कि गंगा माँ जी का पानी के लिए आया है, मतलब गंगा जल के लिए आया है. इतना काहे ये लोग ये कर रहा है, लोड ले रहा है कि क्या है आया, तुम क्यों आया, क्या चाहिए, ये वो. अब चूना लगा रहा है तो लगा लो ना, मतलब ये क्या हो रहा है.
हाँ भाई, तू गंगा माँ जी को लेने के लिए आया हो? Yes sir, that was my standard question. So I went there, I took the barrels in the early morning, 5 o'clock. We went to the Ganga, the ghats of Ganga, Triveni Sangama. And they were about to take the water from the Ganga water. I said, no, I have to go to the center of the river because my father said you have to take the water from the confluence.
Yeah, his father told him you have to take the water from the confluence. Okay, not from the banks and or whatever specification. He didn't tell him he didn't give him a Spock. He didn't give him a person to contact. He didn't give him infrastructure. Beta ye lo now, yahan se milega, yahan se information ही नहीं दिया है. Just काम बहुत स्पेसिफिक कि तुमको बीच से लाना पड़ेगा. जैसे जाके वहां पे जाके पीएच टेस्ट करके या टाइट्रेशन मार के देखेगा कि कैसा पानी है, कॉन्फ्लुएंस का है कि बैंक का है कि ट्रिब्यूटरी का है कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूटरी का है. मतलब the fault is a minor at this point. The father is a bloody criminal for having sent his son on a random goose chase.
From the Sangam. Okay, they put me on a boat. We went there. We took the water. We came back, and then we went to the train station, and the railway porters came and said, "What is this?" Same story again. Ganga Maa ji ko leke.
यहाँ पे for some reason ऐसा लगता है रेलवे पोर्टर का पूछना थोड़ा justified है compared to other people. मतलब थोड़ा माने मतलब it's like random, मतलब है ना कि bloody 50 barrels of water you want me to transport, like come on.
लेके आया हूँ, लेने के लिए आया हूँ. So at the time I had just finished all my money. 500-600 rupees was gone.
I think that was a Freudian slip when he said lost and then said finished all his money. I think he didn't lose. I think he may have या तो चूना लग गया होगा, काफी पैसा खर्च हो गया उसका, या फिर बीच में कहीं तो कुछ तो हुआ होगा उसके साथ, खराब हो भी सकता है. I think that was a Freudian slip. Again, it's sort of wishful thinking on my end, but we'll go on. He had only 20 rupees, he thinks. He thinks he had maybe 20 rupees, but he knows कि नेहरू को गाली दे रहा था एक चचा.
I just had 20 rupees, I think. The porter said, okay, you need that money to go back to eat something. You get in, we will put the barrels in the goods wagon. So they put it, I came back, and finally we did it. I brought the water to Ganga Jal to my home, But the point is,
देखो बेचारा, he is coming, probably he has a lot of privilege. He had 600 rupees his father had at his disposal in 1988 to 1991, whatever the time period may be, 87 to 90, whatever the time period may be. And this dude, and he was at the mercy of railway porters. मतलब तुम 50 बैरल पानी भर लिया, पैसा नहीं, अब तुम क्या करेगा? This is like when COVID happened and barrels were going at negative because storage cost, oil barrels were going at negative. This is that, but without any but with extra benevolence of, you know, sort of people who are not as privileged, like railway porters. Baap re.
I never knew anyone. I don't know who the gentleman was. The son in Allahabad gave me food, gave me shelter. The blow past industry man gave me this thing. The auto man helped with the barrels. The railway porters helped me put the water into the train. What I realized subconsciously at that time I didn't realize, but what I realize now is that if you are sincere in your effort, if you are relentless in your pursuit,
don't do this.
in this country, in this beautiful country, you will find people who will help you, who will help you take the Ganga.
Bloody intangible. Acha, he says Prayag now. Okay, I don't think I got this far in the video. You cannot ऐसे intangible लगा के कुछ भी बोल दो, है ना, without any empirical evidence or anything. यार, what? So lucky this fellow is to not have been mugged. I really wish इसका चूकी, he should have been mugged, है ना. यूपी में गया, कट्टा वट्टा दिखाया कि कोई इससे 300-400 रुपया ले लिया, है ना. फिर देखते हैं क्या बोलते हैं, अपना बाप को क्या बोलता है ये जानना था हम लोग को.
Water from Prayag to Chennai.
Horrible. This is, yeah, इससे अच्छा तो यार communal content है यार, where Hindus and Muslims, or I mean whoever it is, are fighting or at least spewing venom against each other. At least that is, it doesn't pretend to be wholesome like this. There are so many problems. This is a dystopian night. This is Kafkaesque. Your father is your father, so you are under 18. He gives you 600 rupees and says fuck right off, and he's in the middle of nowhere, doesn't know the language properly maybe, and is caught in this hellhole. Anything could have gone here and there, and this story they're presenting in a feel good way and saying if your intentions are right and if you persevere, you can do anything. Yeah, this is one of the least. This is, I mean, if I were to make a meter, a harmful meter of some sort, so out of 5, this is like, in terms of venom, this is like a 2 out of 5, or a 1 out of 5. It's not venomous, but in terms of stupidity, personally for me, it is 4 out of 5. I'm not giving it 5 out of 5 again because stupidity and malice are interlinked. So not interlinked, but there usually is some causation or correlation around it. So not giving it a 5 on 5 because this stupidity is not as malicious, because today I think, people have phones and no one will attempt to do this nonsense. Kar sakte hain वैसे पता नहीं, but yeah, but really big move by the dad, है ना, मतलब sending your son to the middle of nowhere, है ना. It's like a very bad Courage the Cowardly Dog episode. हाँ, 1 minute.